I'm joined right off of the bat. At the top of the show, this girl comes up to me about an hour ago and she goes, if I'm not on to start the show, I don't come on at all.
Because I have other bookings, Uncle Bully. I'm booked and busy. I'm Blake Monroe. I have things to do.
She just introduced herself, and the way she said Uncle Bully made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Yes, I am sitting next to the Glamour, Blake Monroe. And you guys know that from day one, the day that Blake stepped in the doors of NXT, stepped into the world of the WWE universe, I was like, I got to talk to Blake. I need Blake next to me. I want Blake. And they kept telling me, not right now, not right now, not right now. So when this whole thing went down for tonight with the Dudleys in the front row watching the Hardys defeat Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Champions, when they said, hey, we want you in the front row, I said, only if I can interview Blake Monroe on Busted Open.
Bargaining chip, all right.
Yeah, and that's it. So first and foremost, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Yeah. I do appreciate it. This is your, first real deal interview,
this is Blake Monroe's coming out, I guess, kind of.
And guess who was able to pull that off, folks? Good old Uncle Bully. Right off the bat, I think you've been doing a really good job here, okay? How do you think you have been doing here in NXT? How are you enjoying it so far?
Oh, I love it. But I love wrestling. I've loved wrestling since I was a kid. So anytime I can get into anything, especially something new, and WWE is huge and everything here is new, it's very exciting. Like my debut was on a PLE, and then I got thrown in a car for NXT. Then I got thrown in a car and taken to Saturday Night Main Event, sit in the crowd, and the next day was Evolution. So it's like, for that to be kind of my debut weekend sort of sums up WWE and how it just moves and it's a machine. In terms of how I think I'm doing, I think a lot of performers will get this. It's hard to know. It's really hard to gauge how you're doing. You know, there are people who will unapologetically love you even if you deliver something terrible. There are people who will hate you even if you deliver magic. So it's hard to know, but I try to base it off of like a personal thing. And every match, for example, I'm like, I want to work on one thing. And we spoke before in another lifetime, and I said I wanted to work on promos. Like that's something like I'm still working on. So to answer, it's not an easy answer. I think I'm doing really well, but I know that I'm having a ball.
So here's what's interesting, what you're about your whole aura and your dynamic and your personality right now. When I've been down here filming LFG for the past few months, I've seen you down here, and I was like, she seems a little reserved and quiet and subdued, and I'm like, this is not her. But I felt like you were still getting, used to this place, getting comfortable. But tonight, you have been more smiley. Like, she's popping huge right now. But you've been more smiley and outgoing than I've seen you so far. So you must be getting more
I know, they
comfortable.
probably met me like, what a polite young British woman. And now they're like, oh, please. Stop talking like.
But you have to be more comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's just, WWE is huge, and it's something I watched as a kid, and it's also just, I don't know anything. I've wrestled for a really long time, but I'm sitting next to you, so I haven't wrestled for a long time at all. But it's like, it's been most of my adult life. And then you come here and it's totally new, and it's intimidating, but in a good way. Like, I love a challenge, and also sometimes I'm just figuring it out. I'm figuring out who's who, what's what, and coming out of my shell. And also with me, I feel like I get my confidence from my performances. And like I said, it's hard to know how you're doing. But I think since I saw you and you were taping for LFG, I had, a great match with Jordan. I've been doing some backstage vignettes that I've loved. I feel like even with the fans, I feel it now when I come out, they sing my song. They're like, oh, I know Blake. Whereas before it's kind of I feel like they kind of knew I was something because of the way I was brought in, but they didn't know me yet. And it takes time to let people know you. You get 2 or 3 minutes on TV every week if you're lucky. It takes time, but I feel like the fans are starting to be like, she's our girl now, and embrace me. And I see the Blake Monroe shirts, and then I'm starting to do stuff and be like, I'm proud of that, which is hard to do. But genuinely yeah, I wanted to work on this and I did it, and now I'm going to work on the next thing. And so I feel like I'm finding my feet, and Hopefully, clearly it shows. So.
No, without a doubt, and I don't blow smoke, so it's definitely coming across in the way, the confidence, and you speak. You seem so much more laid back and not on edge right now. You talked about the intimidation factor. What is intimidating to you in the world of the WWE right now?
Well, I think it's just starting, again, like I said, I've wrestled my whole adult life, and then I'm not afraid to take new challenges. If, people do know about me, like they'll know, like I just moved to Japan on a whim. Like I didn't plan it. I was just in Japan. I was like, I'm going to move and I'm going to do this and become a champion. And I had all these personal goals. So I'm not afraid to like start again and challenge something. And then I don't know why, because I'm, 26 when I signed, I'm 27 now, but I'm like, I kind of feel more scared than I did when I was like 21 and taking on new challenges. And it's
Sure.
like, I don't know if it's because you know more and you're so aware, but it's like, yeah, I think the intimidation is just like, these are the best of the best. You look at the top stars like Io and Bianca and Rhea, and I mean, they're mega stars, and it's, I want to be toe to toe with them.
No,
So
wait. You said, what's the girl's name with the B?
B?
Yeah, you said, what's her name?
Oh, Bianca?
Bianca.
Bianca. I'm British, mate.
Bianca.
I say Bianca.
I'm from New York, mate.
Oh, I'm not from New York. But, like I look at these people, they just jump out the screen, and that's where I want to be. And I know some people are like, you're already there, but I want to be better every time.
In watching your vignettes and the backstage stuff that you do and all, the promos, the character is really starting to click with me. Is Blake Monroe your version of you? Is it NXT's version of you? Is it a combined effort?
Well, I feel like the Glamour is what I love about the Glamour is it's something I've had with me through my whole wrestling career. From like my debut when I was told absolutely not, to like being like, no, I'm gonna do this, because I came up on the British Indies, which are very like grungy and punk, and I didn't get over like that, like at the kind of cool shows. I never got over.
You gotta be like a wrestler's wrestler.
Yeah,
right?
you have to. I always say like you have to be ugly and wear black and studs. Like that's always what I thought, and it's like I it's just not me. And I feel like when fans can smell a fake anywhere, and like I would do all the family shows, like we call them the camp shows in England. I don't know how. It's kind of like a vacation, like where kids go with their family and they watch it. They loved me, and they really were like, they were attached to it. And I wrestle for kids. Like I think they're the best people ever. They would cheer and boo to no end. But the Glamour is something I've kept with me since the Indies and other, in Japan and in America, and then now coming to WWE. And I feel like WWE have taken it, and just everywhere I've gone, it's elevated. But like they've put the WWE touch on it, and like been able, like I wanted to do like a vignette in the bath for so long. I just thought it would be so funny because wrestling's so gnarly, and then it's like this girl in the bath. And they were like,
oh yeah, that's the first thing I thought. That was so funny.
Yeah, and
like seeing you in a bathtub is so funny.
Yeah, it's like she's not. It's like almost goofy, but like not too goofy. And on a show where everybody wants to be tough, it's like, yeah, I can go in the ring, but it's funny, it's entertaining, and that's what wrestling is. So I feel like WWE have definitely like. Then we talk, like I talked to Sean, I talked to Russo, the head writer, I talked to Andrea, like I talk to them all the time about what I want, what they see, and I think for me it's become more complete. And the Glamour is one thing, but she's very like light and airy, and I feel like the woman from hell side of it is like, we all have a bad side, and I feel like it's not perfect, and it's nice to kind of bring that in. And to me it makes me feel like a more complete package, because I can do comedy and I can, drift around with these other girls, but when it's like a deeper feud or a better story, it's like I can be gritty too. And it just feels like I'm not changing myself, I'm just showing myself.
And we saw that gritty side of you in that steel cage match against Jordan Grace.
What? We were having a good time, and you bring up Jordan. I can't stand her, like, at all.
I think you're shooting, brother.
Yeah, for real, I don't like her. She likes her. Apart from herself.
She got the best of you?
Whatever.
Were you proud of your performance, though?
Yeah, but I like to win, so not too proud.
I
but
get that.
I was. I feel like the crowd were into it. I've never had a steel cage match. Never had a weaponized steel cage match, which is different. They hang all the weapons.
Yep.
So yeah, I was proud of myself. I was definitely a little nervous. Like I don't like getting older, because I feel like you become more nervous. Like when I was younger, I would just be like, yeah, and do whatever. And now I'm like, ooh, I know that's gonna hurt. And like
it all hurts.
It all hurts. But when I was younger, it didn't. I'm old.
Because you're
I'm
so
washed.
old now.
I'm so old.
You're grizzled. At 27, you're
just
grizzled.
two Hall of Famer veterans talking about the tables. Like
I should have brought my cigarettes. We could smoke.
no, a cigar. But yeah, no, that hurt.
Now, I got to ask you, in that steel cage match, your choice of attire.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that you were wearing some really, really nice form-fitting camos.
Yes.
Why the choice of camos that night?
Well,
And before I say this, I legitimately do not know.
Well, no, so it was... I always like to do for a PLE, like a big match. I always care about what I wear. But like for a PLE, I'm like, let me do something fun. Let me do something memorable, whether it's like the hair, the makeup, everything. Because it's just a chance to be very like theatrical. And like I said, I just thought it was a hardcore match. So, obviously you guys spring to mind. And I was literally looking at all the different trials. I was like, let me just do the Dudleys, but not too on the nose. Like just do like a little... I feel like the top, everything was glamorous. But it was like just a little nod. And I feel like the wrestling fans that get it, and it's cool.
Yep.
And it's not too corny, but then if you don't get it, you're just like, oh, Blake, I stole your gimmick. So it's mine now to get over.
If anybody can steal my gimmick, it's you, girlfriend.
And actually, in high school, I dressed up as you for Halloween. Yeah, me and my friend. Yeah, you and
you and your
Devon.
friend were both in Devon?
Yeah, no, we fully went with the everything. I have this pictures like when this goes out, fans will find the pictures. That's on my Instagram.
You wore the Dudley glasses?
The glasses. We had like a merch shirt, and then the camo pants and like boots. And we put the tape as well. Like
I normally save this for the end of the show, but look what I brought you.
Stop. Wait, everybody gets to wear these?
Look what I brought you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am handing Blake Monroe her very own pair of Dudley glasses right now. You can't take off the headsets.
Oh, well, I couldn't get it all on.
There you go.
I look like a real dog.
Well, that's kind of the gimmick.
I kind of felt like I would pull these off.
A real dog.
A real
You
dog.
look like a bit of... Now we're going to leave them on for the rest of the interview.
Yeah, and I also maybe have a little bit more work to do tonight, and I have a bad feeling I'm going to forget to take these off and run out to NXT. I feel like.
You're in the WWE universe. You're in NXT, but talk to me about the goals. Talk to me about your short-term goal and your long-term goal. Tell me about the childhood dream that you had.
Well, I think for me, it's like, the childhood dream was like, I wanted to be a WWE superstar. Like, when you're a kid, you only know WWE, like, that's the goal. And I did that, but I think in wrestling, if you don't have goals or aspirations or any career, like, if you feel like you're floating or coasting, for me, it makes me fall out of love with something. And if you don't love wrestling, it hurts, and there's no reward. So for me, I'm always looking for challenges on the next thing. And we talked a little bit about the heavy hitters in WWE, but across the board on their 3 brands, there are so many talented women. And even things like a Money in the Bank, ladder, like I said, in my first cage match, all these different things that I have never done and want to challenge myself to do, because growing up, I watched them. And obviously for me as a kid, it was mainly the dudes. But even now, like, you see all the women doing it. But my big goal, and it sounds cheesy, but it's just to make people feel something. Like, yes, I want to win championships as part of your legacy, but the championship doesn't make you. It's stories, it's moments. It's like, I remember this, or do you remember this match, or do you remember when she did this, or, oh, I loved it when those two wrestled. Like, and I've had some of that in my career, and that's kind of the impression I want to make. And, I'm looking at the girls and wondering, like, who am I going to have that chemistry with? Who am I going to tell those stories with? So for me, I feel like if you can really get the fans to feel something, that's the best feeling, because you feel it out there, you feel the energy.
It's really refreshing to have a talent as young as you talking about what's important to you in a match, making them feel something, because people only remember the way you make them feel. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, they're not going to remember the moves and blah blah blah. It's how they felt watching you, how they felt listening to you. And especially in this company, that's the biggest thing. At the end of the day, it is, world wrestling entertainment being the last word and the most important word, and you have to make them feel something.
Because I feel like too, in Japan, which is very much known for like the moves and the wrestling, and they have great stories there.
You did Stardom?
I did Stardom, and people loved, me and my tag partner, like our friendship. Like, we were like the party girls, and like we came out and had like champagne and we danced, and people were way more interested in that. And like, you know, they like some of my single matches, but more so because they're like seeing a girl improve in front of their eyes. But that was something like in a foreign country where I can't even speak their language, they loved. They were, you know, attached to that. The merch sold, like they were excited. They did the dance, like they would make video, like that's something. And then in the previous company I worked for, it's very heavy on the wrestling, but nobody cares about the wrestling I did. It was a story I told with somebody and how that made them feel. So, and also when you do it, it's a blast. Like somebody said to me, make sure you stop and enjoy it because you have something really special. And when I stopped and did that, I was like, this is so fun. Like, why do you, because it's really easy, like, you say I'm young, I feel old, but like it's really easy when you're new, like you're freaking out about everything, remembering everything, this and this and this. And it's like, why don't you just stop and enjoy it? And I feel like fans can sense when you're in it and you're feeling it and they feel it. And it's like, oh, this is what it is. And it's not easy to find. And like you said, when I came here, I'm like a little trepidatious and nervous, but it's like, once you find your feet and you start to find that chemistry with people, like it's really easy to get into it and have fun.
You talked about having some great chemistry with other people that are not in the WWE universe right now. When you look at the roster, whether that's the NXT roster or on Raw and SmackDown, do you see a woman that you say to yourself immediately, yes, her. Yeah. I believe if I could ever get in the ring with her, I could have something special.
Yeah, I mean, the big one for me, I feel like right now in NXT, when I came, I always said I wanted to wrestle Sol. I feel like she is just the ultimate babyface. And I feel like to my bones, I am a heel. Like, I'm not likable. I feel like we are opposites. And I feel like she has an interesting story with Zarya. And I feel like, for me, that's just, like, so fun to play with. I also really like Tatum. There's just something about her that I'm always, like, interested in. And then main roster, I mean, that's a field day. I haven't thought too much about it because I'm trying to focus on one thing at a time. But for me, I feel like Rhea, again, opposites. I just feel like there's something there. But I also feel like sometimes when you're very similar to someone, like a Liv Morgan to me too, I see a lot of myself in Liv. I feel like she was very underrated for her in-ring and she's good. But when she found like her character and she found her feet, I mean, she was having like the run of a lifetime before she got her. And I'm sure she's going to pick back up where she left off. But I see like I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I see similarities there and I feel like that there could be a really good story. But I mean, it's so deep. That's just off the top of my head, but there's so many.
Something you just said like really caught my ear. You're like, I'm a heel. You said I'm not likable. Now, when I hear that, my cold black heart goes pitter patter. I love the way that sounds, but tell me what is not likable about you. And you're talking to one of the most unlikable mother truckers that ever walked.
Yeah, well, you're my role model. This is it.
I hope so. I will make people despise you. But what is not likable? To hear you say that about yourself, tell me what's not likable about you.
I think if you know me in real life, I think you would like me. Like, I try to be a good person. I think I'm sweet. But I think in terms of my performance and where I thrive, like when I watch movies, I love villains. I feel like it is so fun. It's so fun to be so awful. And like,
yes,
also I'm good at getting my ass handed to me too. So I feel like that plays into it. But just in my limited experience, I feel like I've always been rejected as a babyface. And, timing is everything. You don't know in 3 years, it might be like, we love her and they love all the things that aren't, generically babyface about me. But I have never really, apart from like kind of family shows on the indies, I've never been liked. Like people have always, especially coming up on the independents, like they're very hardcore fans. They don't like me. Like they just don't, I'm not one of them. I don't fit in with them. And instead of trying to fight it, I've always just been like, all right, if you say I'm that, then, because I remember which is so ironic now, but like when I first started, they're like, she's just using wrestling to get famous. And like, here I am, years later still doing it. But I just kind of always played into that. I'm like, okay, if that's what you think, then why kind of fight what's on the table for you? Like, why go against it? So I think I'm a better heel. Like I said, I love a challenge. And one day I hope like to be a baby face, but also in the better stories I've ever told, I've always been the bad guy.
The only way to become a loved babyface is to be a hated heel first, and vice versa. When it comes to being hated, do you think people hate the way you look, hate the way you talk? What is it?
Yeah, I'm British.
Okay, do you think that's it? Do you think it's that I'm better than everybody else? Because when you first got here, when you first got to NXT, I felt that they were trying to put their toe in the water of, we want people to like this girl.
So for me, I always feel like unless you're a pure babyface, and I said Soul because there's something about Soul. I hate her, but I feel like it's very likable. Like, she's this beautiful surfer, but she's not like, she doesn't come across as right. Like, she's just cool. Like, whereas I feel like with me, like, the glamour is fun, but it's almost one-dimensional as a babyface. Whereas when I'm not perfect, when it's the woman from hell and the glamour, and you see these flaws which kind of come with being a bad guy, it's like, that's when I feel like I get over. And when I say over, I don't mean being liked. I feel like getting a reaction, getting booed. Like, I obviously had a story with Jordan. I feel like we got better reactions as it went on, and you started to see like, Blake is awful. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but that's the other thing too. And like, this might be because I grew up watching wrestling, but if I'm a heel, I don't want people to like me. And I feel like too, as a heel, like, I'm not afraid to do heelish things. I think, like, some of my experience in wrestling, I've seen a lot of heels want to be cool and they want to be like, strong and like a badass. And like, I don't care. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't. In what great movie did you ever watch where like the villain was like, yeah, some villains are cool, but they were just like, you're not supposed to. Like, it's not. So I feel like sometimes I can do things other people are like too scared to do because they're too afraid to be disliked, whereas I really don't care.
Well, that's great because leading into it is the way to go. Before you came to the WWE, you were working with a different company, and you had a choice when your contract came to an end. You had a choice of staying with that company or coming to the WWE. Why did you decide to come here when it seems like things were going really well for you over there?
Yeah, I mean, I had a fantastic experience, and I did things I'm so proud of and cherish. And when I had a really short contract, and when it came to an end, there were positives and negatives. But it got to a point with wrestling where I did have an amazing story, but that was the one thing I had. I didn't have much else, and I just thought, is this everything I want? I also considered going to Japan, which I feel like nobody knows, and it's something I talked to them about. And then when my deal was up, people were like, you just talk to WWE and just see, because I wasn't considering it, and that's not an insult to WWE. It's incredible. I just didn't. I always just try to focus on one thing at a time on wrestling. So it's like I hadn't considered it. And when I talked to them and they cared so much about the glamour and so much about all these different things, I was like, okay, now I do have a big choice to make. And I really sat and thought about it. And it was a really, really tough decision. But it just came down to, I did everything I needed to do. I feel like I told a great story. I feel like I made people feel something. And it's time to close that chapter. And it's time to start a new one, and like getting a new name and a whole new experience. And like I said, there are so many women here. Like, women's wrestling is very important in WWE. And that's something, as a woman, like, I want to be a part of. And just, like I said, all these different matches and possibilities, for me, it was a great deal. And it was just a challenge. I want a challenge.
If the decision was up to you, would you have kept your prior name? Or would you have liked to
No, because if you're familiar with my prior name, I feel like it was the end to a story, and I cherish that. And I feel like it's kind of cool that like she died almost, and like that's done. And also, I can't turn back time, so I never really think about it. But Mariah is my real name, and I wish I never used it in wrestling because it's weird. But I did it, and I can't change it. But just the chance to start something new. And I feel like, with WWE, it's like, hey, we're going to make this new thing, and we're going to make it a megastar. And I feel like week by week we do that. And yeah, I love it. And it's also a tribute to my niece, so I feel like it's cool.
Tell me that story.
Yeah, so my niece is called Blake. And we always used to watch WWE together, and she'd like jump around the bed and be so excited. And when they said, how do you feel about the name? Would you be open to changing it? I was like, I actually probably would. So Monroe was the first wrestling name I ever wrote down. I still have it. I still have it in a book, and I have a screenshot from my friend from like 2017, I think. Mm-hmm. I didn't start wrestling till like 2020, 2019. So I want to do Monroe as like a first name. And then like the more I thought about it, I'm like, I wanted something a little bit. People don't like the name because they think it's boyish, but that's why I like the name. Because I feel like if you're in a really intense feud, it's like Monroe. Whereas I feel like Blake is like serious. So I was like, I like that it was like Blake, which is my niece, and it's kind of unisex, and then Monroe, which is so pretty, but is a little gimmicky. So I thought like putting the two together was different, and like the name is very controversial, which I like because people talk about me. So
as long as they're talking about you, and they are definitely talking about you. I know you have a couple of other things to do tonight. Otherwise, I would invite you to stay for the entire show.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for giving me some time tonight. It was great having you on. Yeah. Good luck with everything.
And I'm so glad I did it like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you ever need help on finding your true inner hatred, just give me
I'm that. No one is a bigger hater than me. I feel like sometimes I'm on Twitter going off and I'm like, am I going to get a text like, hey, put the phone down? I haven't got it yet.
The phone down.
I haven't got it yet.